I've done a few deals down in Macon.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very it's a tough market. It's kind of like West Virginia. You got to know about, where you're at, the locations. It's street by street down there.
Well, Macon is, yeah. And I Warner Robins, this is a hard market. I try to stay in Houston County, around this area.
Hmm.
I have looked at a few in Macon, but I don't know. They just, I don't know. These people from everywhere doing stuff in Macon seem like, I mean, from all over the country.
Yeah, man. It seems like it's a hot market. It's opening up a lot. What are you guys seeing a lot of mobile homes down that way? Like new mobile homes, a lot of new construction? Like what are you guys seeing?
Well, in Warner Robins, yeah, there's a lot of new construction, and most of it's the bigger houses. Uh, I don't know. This is a hot market. Like I say, it's always been hot. Things don't set long. I've been in the business for a long time. Over the last 5 years, I haven't done a whole lot since my wife passed away. But now I'm trying to get back in it, and I'm trying to kind of focus on wholesaling. I need to make some money.
Yeah, I feel it, man. That's why we're here, we're not we didn't me and David, my partner David here, he's a co-admin in the group. We don't really want to get on here and offer you guys like at the end of this there's not going to be a course you have to buy or something. We just want to build a community where people
Right.
can come on, we can get to know each other, we can do deals together, so man, it's a pleasure to have you here for sure.
Yep. Where are you located at?
Me and David both, we're up here in West Virginia.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a slow market, small market. That's kind of how the group started. We were thinking like, we're a part of mentorships and communities, and most of these places in big cities like Phoenix, Dallas, Fort Worth, like it's a little different in markets. The marketing's different, the way you talk to sellers are different. So that's how it kind of came to play.
Right.
Do you see that a lot? Do you do deals in other places?
No, I'm not no virtual. I was always, kind of, I wanted to be where I could put my hands on it if something happened, I had a problem or something. I always like to be local. Uh,
Yeah.
I might venture out later on, but I don't even like going to Macon. I mean, that's right up the road here, so
Yeah. Cool.
and Macon's got some certain areas that's not crime. So, I mean, I'm not as young as I used to be, so I can't run as fast as I used to could. So,
Yeah, I understand. So you said you want to, I don't want to take up all the time me and you talking, but I do got to ask, you're getting started wholesaling. I know there's a few other people in here. They're getting started wholesaling or maybe got a deal or two. What's the biggest hurdles you're having, just getting started in the transition of doing that?
I would say finding the deals. I've always been scared of cold calling. I just now kind of started getting into cold calling, so it's kind of, I'm getting used to it. Uh, Matter of fact, I had a guy call me back on one. Uh, he wanted me to go walk around it, which I did. It was just kind of find out it was his mother's house that passed away, been sitting for like a year. I called him back yesterday and left a message, but I hadn't heard nothing out of him. But I don't know that's where I'm headed. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Just flip some stuff real quick.
Okay, yeah, I understand. So where are you going to leave it? Like, you sent a follow up to him, you left him a message. What's next if you don't hear back from him?
I don't know. I guess, like I say, when I first left the message, which was a week or so ago, it took him a couple of days to call me back.
Yeah.
Then we chatted. He told me to ride by it, walk around it. So I did. And I don't know if I don't hear from him. I guess I'll wait another week and maybe I'll call him again. Because it could be a very good, potential deal.
No, that's good, man. Me and David did a house recently where David flipped it, and it took me 2 years of follow up on this seller. And it wasn't a lot of time, but it was 2 years of constantly reaching out, leaving messages, and for the longest time, it felt like I was talking to myself.
Yeah,
That there was nobody getting back to me, but it's just all about timing, man. So just
right.
keep following up with him for sure.
Well, I was kind of hoping, being the holidays were coming up, Christmas and all, maybe they would, kind of be in a rush to get rid of it and, have some Christmas money or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So what are you doing for marketing? Like, you.
Well, I got Deal Machine. I've done some postcards, not a whole lot. I have got some response off some of the postcards, but I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to focus on cold calling. That was my biggest fear. And they always say your success is on the other side of your fear. So I'm just trying to conquer the cold calling and master that and get good at that.
Yeah. I love the cold call. I hate the cold call, but I love the cold call. I have a
Yeah,
love-hate relate. One minute I'm telling David I'm never going to cold call again, and then the next minute somebody that I've talked to on a cold call follows up with me and we get a deal from it.
right.
So it's one of those things like you got to stay after it. You got to keep talking. You got to keep following up with cold calling. We also do like a lot of Google ads where these
Hey,
people are a lot warmer, so the conversation's a lot different, you know?
yeah,
But yeah, if you send me a message after this, and I'll send you over a template of the postcards that I use Deal Machine, and I'll send you the postcard that we're using. We got two right now that's getting us good leads.
yeah.
So I'll send it over to you so you can have it, and maybe it'll work good in your market.
Okay. Well, I guess since I was scared of cold calling, the postcards was going to be my thing.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm ready to get something going, so that's why so I need to learn this cold calling anyway. Uh, but yeah, I'll do that. And what I'm doing, the ones I don't get no response from, I send a postcard. If they ain't got a number, I try to send a postcard. Just try to make some kind of contact, some kind of way.
Yeah. Do you need any advice on how to approach the cold call
Well, I mean, I've read a lot. I listen to you. I listen to other people. I think my main thing is picking up the phone and
and
doing it.
doing it?
And I have good days. I have bad days. A lot of days I get in front of my computer and I just get so distracted. It's like 100 things will pop up, and I'd rather do that than cold call.
Yeah.
So I had to get in that state of mind to come in here, sit down, and do it. Just jump
Yeah.
on it.
That's a key, man, is just massive imperfect action. I still get butterflies when I get on a call with people. It's not easy, but it gets easier as you go. But I
Right.
appreciate you, Ricky. And anybody else, if y'all want to chime in and talk, like it's really what this call's about is just getting to know each other, networking, and hopefully each week after week we can start doing deals together, and start
Yeah.
helping each other.
Well, I got one more question, then I'll shut up. I want to hear other people's conversation too. But as far as the do not call list, and I've just kind of started calling that list. I mean, do y'all call the do not call list? I mean,
Good question. So I know a lot of people that do it. And I've done it over the years, but these days I don't. Just
oh,
being
really?
honest, because right now we're in an age where compliance is important, opting in is important, and we get a lot of unwanted calls and unwanted texts, and if you're already telling me that you don't want it, then I don't want to bother you, even though that I've got so many good deals and leads from people who were on that list
Yeah,
you know so people that I've mailed that's on the do not call list that get back to me, and those are really good deals that I've got. So I know that you're missing out contacts, and your list is a lot smaller once you filter those out. But there's big risks in places like Texas. If
yeah,
you're in an area where a lot of people are getting calls and you're calling those do not call lists, your chances are higher of getting sued. But I'm
yeah.
not an attorney.
There's a lot of them that do not call. So, but I'm the same way. I mean, I get a lot of calls, I get a lot of texts, and I don't like it because it gets so overwhelming. And I like to treat people the way I want to be treated. So, and I didn't do it for a long time, but here lately, I've done some. But that eliminates a lot of people right there. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of people is on that list, and more people is getting on that list.
yeah,
But yeah, if I were you, I would stay compliant and I would call those people that's not, and anybody that's on the do not call, those are the people you want to mail, in my opinion. Hit that set.
okay,
Definitely in an area like yours, a smaller market, mails,
right.
in my opinion. Like everything I'm saying, guys, is just my opinion, so don't take it to heart. If you guys feel different, no hard feelings.
Right.
What
Yeah.
about you, David? What do you think? Is anything that I'm saying, do you disagree?
No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't call it. I feel the same way. And for a lot of people out there, I'm David. You see me in the group a little bit here and there, and Travis is usually the front man most of the time. But my background is flipping houses. I've been a flipper since '99. Been in a rental business since the mid '90s. A real estate broker since '94. So I've spent a lifetime in the business, and so if you have any questions, kind of towards that type of thing, towards flipping, towards even marketing, hotels, anything like that. That's sort of my expertise. And Travis does a lot of wholesaling. Travis does a lot of lead gen, follow up. So he does that part of the business as well. anybody has anything, fire away.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Like I know everybody's just a lot of people's just getting started on here. Does anybody have any questions on, talking to sellers or, flipping a house? If not, then I can just talk all day long. There's no problem in it.
Yeah, rentals, anything like that. Owner finance, that tends to be my thing too. Is owner finance, creative type deals. I've done a bunch of those over the last 20 years, 25 years. So anything like that you have questions, feel free to fire away, and we'll figure it out.
I got a question for you, David.
Okay.
So, right now we're working on that flip over in Scott Depot, and you're putting in an internal drain.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know, I mean, I guess this is cool. What is an internal drain, and why is it needed on this fix and flip? And why? And as a wholesaler, why should you be aware about this for the future buyer?
Well, as a house flipper, as you move along, you want to be known as the house flipper. You want to be the guy that does them right. You want to be the guy that is first class with everything you do. So when you have in West Virginia, in particularly, when you have a finished basement undergrade, which is underground, I always recommend an internal drain. And basically, what that is you go in. We jackhammer the concrete around the wall that's undergrade. Like if the house is undergrade on three sides, we'll jackhammer it out around three sides. We'll put in drains. We'll drill the wall. And what that does is it lets water penetrate through the wall into the drain that's under the concrete, drains it to a sump pump, pumps it out of the house. So that's it. That's in essence the quick version of what an internal drain is. But what that does is it comes with warranties with the companies we use, and it gives about every house, if you've got a basement or any part of your house that's underground, you've usually got a water problem. And particularly in West Virginia, where we have a lot of rain, a lot of water, mountains, real porous type rock. So we're always dealing with that. And that's usually what causes a lot of structural movement is that pressure and that water pushing on the walls. So we put those internal drains in, and it gives the water a place to go, a way to control it, and it saves a house structurally from being the walls being pushed and pushing the house and getting it all out of whack and pushing on the wall and busting the walls and busting the corners. So there's a lot of things that happen, with that sort of thing. So that's basically what it is.
Okay. And
Yeah.
the reason why as wholesalers we want to look for that and we want to pay attention to basements and ask that question. Like I always like to say, "Also, do you have a basement?" And oh, you have a basement, so just got to ask, is there any ghosts down there? Make them laugh. Any water problems? Because the reason why we want to know this is because one time I went to look at a house and it had a basement. And me and the sellers couldn't see eye to eye, and the basement was dry. We were all good to go, and nothing came of it. I gave the offer. They told me no. They went to the market, didn't sell on the market. 3 months later, they said, "Hey, Travis, everything's still the same. Can we still do the same price?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" I sent over the agreement, didn't go look at the house, went over there, look at it, and the whole basement was flooded. I mean, if you there was a lawnmower downstairs in the basement and you couldn't see the lawnmower anymore. That's how much water was in the basement. So this is kind of why I like to ask these questions because I'm thinking about David. I'm thinking about my buyer and I'm thinking, man, like if there's a serious basement issue and there's water and my buyer goes to see this, that's automatic price reductions. Even if it's a simple fix like, a drainage system. Sometimes that can't be said. Sometimes you run into problems with that too, right? Like sometimes that can be a big mess.
In our area, I tell Travis all the time that the devil's in the basement. And one bad basement can completely wipe out a flip and wipe out all profit. So you got to be extremely careful when you're dealing with basements because water, mold, structural, all the demons live in the basement. So uh, I tell Travis all the time, give me a nice brick rancher or something like that with no basement. Those tend to make easier deals than ones with basement. Just like this house that we're doing, you know, it's a $11,000 bill here. What we're doing to make sure the basement is right. Right off the top, before we do anything, it's $11,000 for that.
I'm telling you guys, like this right here, David, he's my secret weapon. You take him out to an appointment, you learn more about a house than you'll ever learn on YouTube. I mean, I've been doing this going on 10 years, way shorter than David, and I go over there and he tells me stuff I've never would have imagined. He shows I see stuff with him that I never would have seen. So when you have questions about the house itself and things that could go wrong, the construction part of it, David's really knowledgeable. If you guys reach out to him in the group or have questions, sometimes David's busy in houses, so you got to actually tag him so he sees it because he's not always looking in the group like I am. Um, but I feel like, that's important in wholesaling. When I started off by finding, trustworthy people like David that I could work with and reverse wholesale with. Like, I didn't want to go into the business blind and just getting contracts that I had to cancel. I always like to build relationships with my buyers. That's how me and David has built a relationship over time. We didn't start just doing a bunch of deals together. So I don't know if you guys do that, like if you guys are reaching out to buyers and try to reverse wholesale and really build a relationship, but I totally recommend it. I know Osama on here right now. I see Osama. We met through kind of similar, like, I think he found us on like a Google ad, sponsored ad, and we've just been communicating. He's been sending deals. So hopefully, we can do a deal together soon. Where are you located, man?
Right now I'm overseas, so it might sound a little bit odd. I'm all the way in Cyprus, so yeah.
Oh, cool. What time is it there?
It's 9:17 p.m., so I'm 7 hours into the future.
Nice.
I don't know who wants to join me there.
Man, I
You're
gotta
not the only
ask.
one overseas either.
Okay, where are you at?
Well, I'm from Houston, Texas, so
Okay.
that's the market that's a very active market. Okay,
Mhm,
but right now I'm in Nicaragua. I'm in Central America, which is the
mhm,
same time zone, ironically, as Central Standard Time.
mhm.
Wow. So I've done deals virtually in other states and it got complicated. So I got to ask you guys, how are you guys managing the time difference and being in a whole nother country? Just for those that's here in the United States that are having a difficult time, I feel like this could really motivate people.
Man, the letter C comes way before you, so Christine, you go first.
It's all right. Well, the good part about where I'm located, like I mentioned a minute ago, we're located in Central Standard Time. So it's the same as Houston, Chicago,
Okay.
Minnesota, all the way up and down the line, Louisiana, that area. So, thanks goodness, since we just went back in time, was that we just fell an hour back, this past weekend. So we're in the same time zone. So thankfully, that's not an issue for me. I may have other issues, but that's not one of them.
Well, thank you for sharing. What are some of the problems that, you're having? Maybe somebody on here can, maybe we can all come together and create a solution.
Hopefully, yes. I'm just gonna probably give you a short history and my background. I started in real estate wholesaling the past couple of years. In the meantime, I was pregnant with my daughter, and now she's almost 2 years old. At the same time, I finished my bachelor degree at U of H downtown in political science, and so that's the reason why that's been off and on. And as well as I helped my husband um, with his business also. He has a tech business, so that's the reason why that's been off and on. But lately, for the past, I want to say almost a year, um, I've been really focused on full time doing wholesaling, and I just added to my portfolio as well as being a hard money lender. I will work with a company called Found Ever. So, that hard money is for fix and flips, DSCR, all those sorts of things, which I'm sure y'all are familiar with. So I'm trying to, like David said before, put all the pieces of the puzzle together and try to make this thing work. And eventually my end goal is to do some investment in property and do rentals. But I know this is probably a good starting point. The issue that I'm having, I haven't had a deal yet. I have stuff on the contract. Well, I'm working with another wholesaler who does dispositions. he sends me deals. Right now I have three working with him, and I need a buyer at this moment. The thing is, I notice sometimes when I'm running comps, it looks like sometimes his numbers are not the greatest. So I'm thinking that that's part of the problem.
Mm.
Um, I also I need to do more cold calling. I haven't cold call a lot. I guess I'm like you, Travis. I get kind of scared into actually initiating and doing the call. But once I call, I'm fine as soon as I get on the phone, you know. But I mean, you know, my downfall right now, I need a deal.
Okay. I'll tell
Being
you what.
straightforward.
It's all normal. Everything that you just said, we all go through it. I've been through it. Like I told you, I get
Hmm.
what I find helps me. It sounds really weird, but before I get on a call, I kind of have to reassure myself. It's almost like talking into a mirror. People probably laugh, like people in my household probably laugh at me. But
Hmm.
I tell myself like, hey, I'm a problem solver, and there's somebody out here that I'm going to get on a call with today that really needs my help. They really need me, and if I don't put myself out there and I don't make this call today, then they're going to, be in a way worse position. They're going to bleed more
Oh,
money. Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt, but it just came to my mind, and I don't want to forget. The thing that's probably one of the things that's probably the main thing I have problem with is skip tracing.
Oh, that's
And
easy. That's easy.
well, I'm limited on funds, so I know I have to pay skip. I have to pay the good software to get the valid skip tracing. I think I found one that's decent in price and it's also reliable. It's called Property Reach. But and I notice a lot of real estate agents use that software.
Do you have a
But
couple $100 a month?
no, I
You
wish I did.
don't? Okay, because if you did, I would recommend your deal machine all day long. I
Uh-huh.
feel like Deal Machine's data is getting better and better. And I've been using them for 8 years now, and they care more about the data than the little tweaks of the AI and how to make their website look better. So that's why I
Hmm.
would recommend as soon as you have a couple $100 a month, sign up. They
Hmm.
have all the skip tracing for free that comes with it. It's not really free because you're paying for it, but it comes with the
Of
software.
course. Uh-huh.
I would recommend that. And are you using like cyber background check? Are you using True People Search? Fast People.
I've used those. Yes, True People Search, Fast People Search. What is it? The other one you just mentioned. I'm sorry. I used all those, and then a lot of times I'm either the call doesn't go through, or I mean, it's not really reliable for me. Over 90% are not
Yeah,
matching for me.
I understand.
I'm not sure why. Maybe that that's what it is, but
Are you,
I
let
don't
me
know.
ask you this. How many people are you
Uh-huh.
calling a day? How many people are you actually reaching out to physically, Monday through Friday, let's say, or whatever days you do it and actually making dials and trying?
That's the thing. I need to make at least 100 a day is what I need to do.
What are you
In
doing?
my opinion, but I'm not doing it. Maybe 10.
Okay, that's the
That's
problem. So
not enough.
yeah, so
Yeah, exactly.
it probably isn't the skip tracing. Like yeah, the
Hmm.
skip tracing, fast people search, you're going to run into the wrong numbers, but it's more of the numbers thing. Like you're going
Uh-huh.
to get a percentage of people no matter what data you get that's going to be wrong numbers, no answers. But the more people you call, the higher your chances. That's why
Of
when you
course.
use these dialers like Deal
Mhm.
Machine or Mojo and you're doing triple lines, you're calling three
Hmm.
numbers at once. Yeah, you're likely to get hit a spam doing that, but your chances of actually having a actual response rate is higher. So I think
Hmm.
that you probably just need to talk to more people and make more dials. Like, can you do 2 to 3 hours a day?
Yes.
What I would recommend you do, if you can't do skip
Hmm.
tracing and you can't pull a bunch of data, and I don't really like to do this myself, but I would recommend just dealing with agents. Okay? Looking
Okay.
for
Real estate
possible.
agents?
Yeah, but and the reason why I say this is, with when you're dealing with homeowners, you have to find that homeowner information, and it usually takes some money, phone numbers, even if it's just a little. But realtors'
Hmm.
information is already online. So you can
Okay.
literally call 20 agents today without any money for skip tracing and say, "Hey, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent, this is who I am. This is what I'm trying to do. I don't know if we can work together, but no hard feelings if we can't, but this is what I'm trying to do. Could you help me here?" And you'd
Okay.
be surprised how many people will open up to you. And now, will you get a deal
Mhm.
from those 20 agents today? No. But let's say 10 of those agents say you can call me back. And then every month you're calling those 10 agents.
Mhm.
Eventually one of those 10 agents is going to think about you and bring you a deal. That's how I would do it if I was starting off with no money. That's how I would do it.
So you would just reach out straight to the agents and tell them what exactly, for example?
David, do you mind catching? David comes from the realtor and broker background. David, would you mind just like, since you're from that world, right? Would you mind just coming in and saying, like, how would you relate to these people, like these other agents, if you were her? Like, what? Because, agents, don't want their time wasted,
And
and I
and,
don't want them to
and there's
hang
a
around.
bunch of agents in Houston.
Hmm. So are we trying to get deals from the agent? Is that what we're trying to do?
Yeah, yeah, like pocket listings, houses that aren't yet listed.
Okay. Every agent out there, and it's been my experience in the real estate business, is 10% of the agents do 90% of the business. So work on agents in your market that are higher producers, because the higher
Okay.
producing agents like that do a lot of, they look at a lot of houses. They have tremendous, tremendous networks. And if you can make friends with those agents and kind of break some ground with them, and maybe even go to one of their open houses and talk to them, or
Hmm.
do some things like that to create some kind of rapport with these agents, they have these tremendous networks, and they have so many pocket listings and things that maybe a house that somebody wants to put on the market, it's an out-of-state owner, it needs a lot of work, and they don't think that they can get it sold in the condition that it's in. And, by communicating with them and just talking to them and trying to help them, you'll be surprised at how much ground that you'll cover with an
Mhm.
agent like that. I mean, to this day, I still send out texts and stuff to certain agents in our market that bring me deals. And they'll just call me up and say, "Hey, man, I got one. It's a bad one, but I thought about you."
That one for them is a good one for you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's got
Mhm.
problems. That's what I want. Give me
Hmm.
problems. I
That's
tell them,
what we want to solve
give
it.
me your problem listings. What do you got? How many problems you got? Every agent's got a ton of problems, particularly the top agents. They've got a ton of listings that are problems. There's
Yeah.
a title problem. There's a repair problem. There's all these problems. And
Hmm.
if they could turn that into some type of money and you handle the problem for them, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I would start with agents.
Yeah.
And like I say, real estate agents have one of some of the best networks of all people in this country as far as salespeople go. It's definitely agents.
Yeah, when you
Thank
get
you.
on the phone with these sellers and, realtors, it doesn't matter if it's an agent or a seller, it's all about what David just said is figuring out the problem and how to solve it. When you're speaking with an agent, it's a lot different than the conversation with a seller. They want their commission. They don't want to waste their time. They might have had this house listed or if it's on the market for quite some time and there's not any
It's not
offers.
moving.
Yeah, they're
Hmm.
afraid of losing this deal. So we have to figure out, who is this person I'm on the phone with? How can I help them? Will they open up to me? Have a real conversation. If I hear a lot of objections from new wholesalers. Oh, well, this agent's asking me for a proof of funds, or but a lot of that is because you're asking the wrong questions as a wholesaler. You're showing that you're a wholesaler and you're new, and they kind of smell that, so they don't want to waste their.
Yeah, that is exactly. They smell like okay, I'm asking for proof of funds because I don't trust you.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
trust.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you want to be a problem solver for an agent. They're looking for some ways to make some money and somebody to take some of the problems off their table, take it off their plate. The other day we had a particular deal call, and it was a land with a mobile home. And the agent called me and she says, "Oh man, it's a mess. Half the mobile home is sitting on the neighbor's property." So it had and I just don't want to have to fool with this thing. It's just a mess, and I don't want to have to rent it out and do all this stuff. So, that's how we got involved in the deal was
Yeah.
something as simple
Okay.
as that. And that's what I tell the agents. Hey, we're problem solvers. Give me the stuff that you don't want to fool with. Give me your problems. I don't care what it is. Send it to me. Let us take a look at it.
Yeah, I've told
Great
agents.
advice. Thank
I've
you.
told agents I was the stinky house guy. Like, hey, anytime you walk out of a house and you want to go home and change your clothes and it stinks, think about me. Put me in your phone as Travis, the stinky house guy. And then every time I call, I remind them I'm the stinky house guy. And I promise you, when they walk out of a stinky house after 6 months of me calling them, they're going to think about Travis, the stinky house guy, every time. So just saying stuff to make you stick out, build a real relationship with people, just like how we're doing on here. I want to get to know every one of you guys over time. So I feel like that's the key to this business is real relationships because, a seller usually is one off. Like sometimes they'll refer you to a relative or a friend. That happens. But an agent, that's their whole business model is to keep bringing you property. So if you can find 10, 15, 20 good agents and, one deal a year from each one, that's a whole business right there without any marketing budget if you can do it, but it's hard. I mean, it's not as easy. I mean, I'm saying this right now, but do you know how
Well,
hard?
nothing in life is easy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's what you make of it.
Yeah. Do
Pick the
we
top
have any
agent.
other questions?
Work with the top agents, top 10% of agents. They're the ones
Gotcha.
looking
Thank
at
you
all
very
the deals.
much, David.
Yeah.
What else do you guys want to talk about? We got about 30 more minutes here if you guys want to.
Hey Travis, I got a question.
What's up, man?
When um when cold calling, do you have like a tentative number in mind? Because sometimes when you cold call out the blue, they're like, all right, what number do you have? Do you kind of have like a number in mind when you're reaching out to these prospects, or do you kind of divert the conversation back to you'll give them a number later? How do you handle that?
Good question. So I never have an offer. I don't look into numbers and comps until I have a moment with you where you open up to me where I know you're a lead. Like to me, there's two different types of leads. People who just want to talk to you and then people who really want to sell. So I'm trying to hold back my number until I figure out really what's going on and how I divert that is just by always asking more questions. Oh, thank you. I understand you want to know the offer straight to the money. That's how I am too, say stuff like
Mhm.
that. But then I always try to, ask a question like, what's that mean to you? What's the number you're looking for? Do you have a price in mind? Or are you thinking 50, 100, 150? Give them multiple choice even.
Hmm.
And then
Mhm.
yeah, and the more that I'm talking to you, as you start talking to me and telling me about your problems, and then I'm pulling up the Zillow and I'm looking around, I'm seeing what things in that area are selling for if I don't know, and I'm seeing the cost per square foot. Then I'm trying to get that number out of you. But I know you're doing things virtually. Me, I usually don't like to give offers until I'm in the house at the appointment anyway. That's
Yeah.
so you have to do a really good job at doing that multiple choice, engaging for that number in advance and trying to pull that number out of them. Um, do you get that a lot? Is that one of the main things you get when you're cold calling is just first objection? Well, how much do you want? How much is your offer?
Yeah. A lot of times, and it's like they're like, "Well, you called me. What number do you have? What number do you have
Okay.
in mind?" Or like, they're getting calls out of the blue. Some are already irritated or know so it's kind of like that type of response you get pretty often.
Oh, totally, Mr. Seller. I totally understand where you're coming from. And, I know this is a little out of the blue. We're just looking to buy in the area. I don't know if this is a right fit for us or not. It might be, it might not. I just figured I'd give you a call. We could ask each other some questions and we could see where this goes. And, no hard feelings if nothing ever comes from it. Is that fair? You can do it like that, if you don't want to just go into a bunch of numbers. And, the
Yeah.
big thing is I don't want to get into an intellectual conversation with a seller. Intellectual
Yeah.
conversation meaning prices, proof of funds, how long till you close. I want to hear the problem.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
I'm trying to gauge the conversation and just switch it around till I can get a real conversation going with you, get some emotions rolling.
Mhm. So just
Hmm.
acknowledge and redirect.
Yeah, acknowledge and
Yeah.
respect. Look, I don't have an offer for you yet. If I threw you an offer right now, Mr. Seller, it would be a total lie to you, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you the truth or tell you a lie that makes you feel good? Like really, that's the stuff you got to say. Be upfront with people. I think that you'll outshine all of the other wholesalers who's calling that don't know what they're doing.
Hmm.
Good.
Totally. Hmm.
Osama knows all about that. You do a lot of calls. You call me like 3 times a day sometimes.
And it's not just that, because I found a way, actually, like you said it earlier, it's just to build a long-term relationship with people and just talking to them normally. I mean, now these days, I call it the 50 no's in a row. When I cold call, I just put 50 no's in a row and I look for a no.
Yeah.
So even if a seller is pissed off or something, I'm like, yes, I got a no. 2 hours later, I get a call back. Hey, what was your offer? But sometimes it doesn't fit accordingly with the buyer. So, and here's the funny thing, actually, one thing that I've learned about wholesaling is that the deals that you least for it to close, it normally closes. And my very first deal was in West Virginia. I know that's a
Wow.
difficult. It was in Fairmont, and
Okay.
that's not an easy market.
No.
Uh, and the title company was a bit something. I mean, I hope nobody's in the title company here. I don't want to get sued. I mean, I want to leave peacefully. So, that's normally how it just started, and I just started, and I follow the reverse method actually. I get to know to the buyers before to the property, whatever they do, and then I subtract 10, 15,000 off of that. And text blasting is one of the essence that I normally do of that regard. If I don't, because at the start of it, I used to spend almost $20 when I first started, based on where I am. I used to use keep calling. And I used to just go on Zillow and then I just cold call in all of the numbers or whatsoever. And then I go 60 or 40% off of that listed price. And yeah, that's how I just normally started. And over time, I just started building relationship. I've even done it with agents as well. And
I
they keep on bringing offers and stuff like that. But sometimes the buyer's a little bit way too picky. Like, that's not gonna work. So and then I go back. But they still keep on communicating. So I completely agree with you and what Dave had to say. It's just based around 16. I mean, for today, that struggle is gone. I've got a buyer in Houston, Texas. I'll be more than happy to give you the number. He goes by the name Scott. So, and I've got another one as well. So feel free. You can just close it down. So yeah,
I got a question for you.
That would be great. Yeah, please
sure,
message me.
I,
sure, sure, sure.
sorry,
Ask away, Travis.
sorry.
Ask away.
I think my Zoom just froze a second, and I didn't even hear you. It just connected like that. So I'm sorry I interrupted. But you mentioned
No
something
worries.
about reverse wholesaling, and that's how I like to do things too. I started off that way. For those that don't know, reverse wholesaling's finding the buyer in advance, getting that number like he said, and then working it out. So how do you, being in a whole nother country? How are you able to build trust with that buyer enough to trust them to not go behind your back and take a deal? Like, how do you find buyers like myself that's going to work with you?
Well, I just I used sincerity and I cut to the chase instantly. I'm like, hey, this is this. Are you looking to buy more properties? And if they say yes, so it's like, okay, what type of brewery? And this is instantly the conversation just starts. He'll be like, what do you have for me? And this is how it started with me and Travis. He'll be like, what do you have for me? And that's how I just break the ice. And then he'll be like, yeah, I've got this, this, this. But I made sure that I've got it under contract. And I make sure I've got it under contract and everything of that sort. So what I'm going to be doing most of the time, I make sure that it's off market so that when I share the link, when I share the photos, they can access to the owner because I already have spoken to the owner. And normally I'll tell the owners, like whoever that comes your way, make sure they come to me. They talk to me first and stuff. So that's what I've been successful with that. So yeah.
How can people reach you? Like anybody on here that just wants to connect with you, do a deal with you, like what's the best way?
I mean, I can just throw in my Google number. So let me just put my number 622665005.
I would love if we can all over time just do deals together. I think that that's
Mm-hmm.
my biggest goal here is just to help each other out, get some more deals rolling. I think that community is important. Mentorship and courses, like I've done it. I've paid for all of that and it definitely helps, but nothing helps like being in a group of people that's like-minded, that wants to see each other win. That means everything to me. So I appreciate you guys definitely even coming on here. Does anybody have any other questions? Like I know we went over a bunch. We went over realtors, um, drains. What about you, David? Do you have anything you'd like to talk about?
No, no, I'm pretty much just available for the group. Like I say, we have very different skill sets, you and I, so we kind of, I think we have most of it covered from A to Z. So if anybody has anything like that. I post some videos in the group and I do some different things, trying to put out a little content for the group. Most of it is based around flips and stuff like that, but um, be glad to talk to you about creative finance. Um, that was one of the ways I got started in the business was through creative finance, sub twos, owner finance, land contract, all that. So that's a good way sometimes when you're getting started, if you want to get into the business, is do it via creative financing like that. So
If somebody had a deal like that, and they had, like, let's say they were talking to a seller and they felt like it might be a good potential for a deal like that, could they post in the group and tag you, and could you help walk them through it sometime?
sure, be glad to. We'll get on a call together, or whatever the case might be, and be glad to try to talk you through it and just kind of give you some insight as the way that I might try to do the deal. Because what you'll find is um, after years and years of doing deals, you get better and better, and you find more creative ways to get a deal done.
Okay. You got a
You know,
question, Mr. Bradshaw?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go
It's
ahead.
like an industry question. With what's going on in Illinois and the Carolinas, do you kind of see that wave going all across the country of like the law changes? Do you think that's coming soon? Just what you guys think about all that?
Yeah, I think that, yep, we talk about it all the time, me and David. Me and David kind of hope for it, in a way. But yep, I think it's going to happen all across the country eventually. The assignment of contract eventually, in my opinion, will be obsolete unless you're an agent. It'll be very hard to do it. I think that, the future for a wholesaler, someone who don't want to buy, I think the future for a wholesaler is kind of go to the business model that I do. Like, for example, David is a great buyer. David has been working in this business for a really long time. He flips houses. Me and David has developed a very great collaboration where we work leads together, and I'm able to be a part of flips without ever having to go in a flip. I'm the wholesaler. I bring the deal to the buyer, but instead of getting an assignment fee, I'm getting a percentage of the profit at the end. So I feel like we have to change our mindset a little bit. Instead of, oh, well, I want really fast money right now, it's, well, I might be able to get a little bit more if I just wait a little longer. Like, the beautiful thing about wholesaling is you can assign with, you're in a market like Houston, within 7 to 14 days, you can close, you know so it's a lot. When you're flipping houses, it doesn't happen like that. It takes a little bit more time, but it's beautiful, to make more money than what you would make on an assignment deal. So I think that's the future. And bird dogging is cool too. Finding a way to make more money than your traditional bird dog by developing your skill set to do a little bit more work than what the average bird dog will do. Once you start really understanding a deal and how to structure creative deals and things like that, you're a little bit more than a bird dog, and your fee can come up. And if David ever had a house, he could, and maybe we don't want to partner on it, maybe he could pay me a consulting fee for bringing him the deal, or some type of other fee that's not illegal. Like, I can't accept a commission because then I would be selling him a house, and I'm not a real estate agent. So, that's my answer. David, what do you think? Do you think in the future that they will make wholesaling illegal everywhere?
I think it's coming. I think once it starts across the country, um, most states tend to fall in and follow over the course because there's a strong lobby out there from the Association of Realtors in the states, the National Association of Realtors. So that's where most real estate laws get passed is from the strong lobby that comes from those organizations across the country.
Don't let it scare you.
No.
It's just another hurdle for business, and your business has to grow from it. The
Mhm.
more regulations, the less wholesalers there's going to be. Look at Illinois, look at South Carolina. Like, people are so scared to do a deal there, but the people who have found their way around to still be legal and ethical and do deals there, they're making money. So, I'll tell you what, the last thing I'll say about that is West Virginia is trying to pass a wholesale law. And if West Virginia is trying to pass it, then everybody's scared because West Virginia is behind on everything. We're last to do anything. I see you raising your hand, Osama. You can just talk if you want. I don't know. Do I gotta unmute you? Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. No, I was just waiting for you to finish. So yeah.
Oh, you're good, man.
Um, mhm. Yeah, actually, based off that regard, I mean, I've been seeing it. I've been hearing a lot from Jared Norton that the regulations are coming through. So I've already started planning in advance. I mean, exclusively, I have my business partner, Tyrone. We already started planning in advance, and that is a referral fee. Where, for instance, we talk to a buyer, we'll be like, hey, we'll bring you this property. How much you gonna pay us or something like that? We'll be like, okay, I'll pay you this amount. So this will be like a separate agreement, like a referral fee or something like that. So there is ways around it actually. So yeah.
Yeah, you'll just want to talk to whenever they start doing stuff like that in your market, go straight to an attorney to help you work around that. That's your best way to do it because like in North Carolina, Harry Marsh is like one of the best real estate attorneys in the state. He does he does Phoenix, Arizona. So anytime you're running into problems like that, reach out to one of the most investor friendly attorneys in that area. And they'll help you work around it. Um, but wholesaling's great, man. That's how I got started. I know a lot of you guys are looking to do that. So I wish you guys nothing but success with it, man. Just pick a market that's not oversaturated. Me and David really like these small markets, 250,000 people. If you can do a market with 250,000 people, you have more than enough business, you know. And there's not as much competition and it's more friendly. It's less what we were talking about earlier, that intellectual conversation, proof of funds, and all that technical stuff that scares wholesalers away. You can actually have a conversation with a seller and find out what's going on, and they actually, talk to you. But yeah, I know we're running
Mhm.
out of time. Do we have any last, anybody want to say anything else before we head off here?
Hey Travis, I do have one question, and this is probably more towards David
Okay.
with the creative finance. So, the market I'm working in, I'm focusing on foreclosures and probates. Some of these foreclosures, they have not enough equity, but just enough to put on market. How could you structure a creative finance deal where somebody, puts the money to keep them up to date, call it 10, 15 grand, with a contract stating that we have the right to list the house. And at the time of sale, we split it 40, 60 or 75, 25, whatever that will be. Because we know the homeowner can't keep up with the payments. So, they might want a little bit more money, but there's not enough money to make it a wholesale deal for an investor to buy. But it might be enough meat on the bone for it to go on market for, you know, out here where I'm at, it's 5, 6 months right now.
Uh, Before David, I just gotta ask real quick. So if it's not a good enough deal for a wholesale deal, and there's not enough equity for the deal for a cash buyer, how would there be enough equity? Tell me if I'm wrong. If you put it on the market after, like realtor commissions, closing costs, like, are you weighing all of that in as well?
I have not. It was just something I thought about, one of those shower thoughts a couple of days ago, and I was just curious on how that would work, or if there's enough meat on the bone, but you can't find a buyer fast enough. Because what I'm seeing here is that buyers are calling me, a week and a half before foreclose is on, and it's hard to be a little bit harder to move.
What do you think? What market are you in?
I'm here in Central Texas, Waco, Bell County, Temple, Belton.
And you got a lot of creative buyers in your area. Like there's a lot of people picking up these no equity type deals. Are there anybody
No,
doing
no, no.
that? Or you're just trying to do like a novation?
Uh, I'm not too sure if it's innovation, if that's what it is. It's just something that came up to my mind was, how can I, purchase the rights to list the property on their behalf and keep them up on the payments, put them back current, and make a
Okay.
little bit extra money that way.
Yeah, you're talking about a novation. Okay. And honestly, David, I'll let David talk, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would
Okay.
recommend, and there's people that do it. There's people that's really successful at it, and you might want to go to somebody and get their advice on it that's doing it like that. But my opinion is, a deal is a deal. And if I have to um, manipulate the numbers just to put it up on the market, then it's probably not a deal.
Yeah,
So I
it's not
feel
a
like
deal.
I should be
Correct.
able to get it at a price and do whatever. David calls it, I'll let him say this. Go ahead, David. What's the three things you tell me? It's a deal if it does three things, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I call them three-way goes, or for lack of a better term. So, if I can flip it and make money, if I can rent it and make money, if I can owner finance it and make money, then that's the perfect deal. And that's the type of deal that you want. Because I own a lot of rental properties, and Travis and I had this talk today. I've owned a lot of flip properties that I still own that are rentals after 15 years. So I started out with, I'm going to flip this property. Well, something happened in the market, didn't flip it. Now it's a rental. Okay. And I didn't really start out looking at the deals that way. But I learned through the years that, hey, when I buy these houses, sometimes the best laid plans don't work out. So I need plan A, plan B, plan C. And if you have a house that checks all the boxes, it's hard to lose. It's hard to lose, and you're always going to be in the money because you can always find a way to turn that property into money for yourself. So,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't try to get into that type of deal, trying to stall a foreclosure, or trying to get onto the foreclosure, and trying to, that's a tough business, and that's a tough model to try to make money in, for sure. So, I probably
Okay.
wouldn't recommend it. Uh, I would be more inclined that if I could catch the deal earlier, and maybe try to joint venture or do something like that with the potential homeowners, that may make a little more sense. But yeah,
So, so when you say that, David, you're saying like, hey, Mr. Seller, your house needs a little bit of work here. We're willing to maybe, catch you up on your payments, and we'll do a 6 month to a year type of deal where we'll go in and we'll do some work to it and put it back up on the market and resell it. Like you're saying that type of deal? Is that what you mean by a joint venture with the seller?
yeah, you can do there, you can do some joint venturing, and I hesitate to say that about in Texas because Texas tends to have a different set of rules than
Yeah.
everybody else does. But you could do a little bit of joint venture type stuff like that. I would definitely have an attorney involved and have it written up. And, basically you would have to make the payments during that time frame while you're doing the work and doing these different things. But I have seen people make money in a business model similar to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, guys, we don't want to dismotivate you, but me and David are a little different, and there's a lot of things that people will teach you in these other like groups and stuff that we won't do. Like we believe in quality over quantity. We're not just getting houses under contract to cancel on. So like if we're under contract, it's because it's a deal and we're confident in it, and we're very upfront with sellers. So like if there's anything we say that we don't agree with, that's not saying you can't make money and you can't do it. I would say just if you're still interested, find someone in that local market that's actually doing it, that's really consistent and doing novations, and try to partner with them on it and let them steer you the right way. But I can't give you that honest direction because I wouldn't do it. I'm the type of guy that says, Mr. Seller, why don't you just list it with an agent yourself? I'll give you my agent's phone number, and and I'll try to help them out that way and just let them list it themselves if they want to do that. Because usually, if you want to put something on the market and if it could sell on the market, you shouldn't be doing business with me anyway. Now, if the seller would continue to say, well, Travis, I don't want to do that. Can you just help me and do it for me? And that's different, then maybe I might, but I've never had a seller do that. Usually when I tell a seller, like, this is what you could do, you could put it on the market, here's my agent's number, they're usually appreciative of that. And, they understand, man, Travis could have just made money on me, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Good.
then what usually ends up happening is I get a call in a few months from someone that they know, and I end up getting a deal out of that, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't want to put nothing in a contract and not close it out. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
lead nobody down that road. I mean, I want to be a man of my word.
That's how we do it,
Yeah.
man. That's how you're who I like to do business with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sincerity sells.
Well, we appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna try
I
to
have
do.
a question real quick before you turn off, please, if you don't mind.
It's good.
Okay. How do you determine, like, for example, maybe because I don't know this, how do you determine whether the wholesale deal is eligible for creative finance? If it doesn't move, if it doesn't have enough equity, or how do you determine
Cool. Yeah.
that?
Good question. So I personally, we like cash as much as possible. So my
Mm-hmm.
objective is cash, 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 cash. That's
Of
what,
course.
but as the cash number doesn't work and there's a good
Mhm.
deal there, I don't want to let it go. So
Okay.
that's when I have to figure out Mr. Seller, if, I know we're far away on price, if I was able to come up on my price, do you think you could get creative with me? you know
Mm-hmm.
um, they usually ask what that means, and you get into it. So that's, I'm not always just looking for a creative to me, like David says, creative. I don't
I
want to
mean,
take
yeah.
on a creative unless it has a good roof, and because you gotta, when you're doing these creative deals, there's a lot of risk. Okay, even if you assign it to, like, let's say you assign it to David, let's say
Mm-hmm.
David stops paying, the roof starts leaking, and then the seller is in a bad position. Who are they going to blame? They're going to blame David, but they're also going to blame you because you're the person who did the deal. So there's a lot of risk with these deals. So you want to focus on quality houses with creative, in my opinion. Good houses, good school districts, good neighborhoods, and you want to focus on the person that's all about price. The person that's all about price. They don't want to negotiate a lower price. Am I right, David? Those are the best people with a creative deal. Is the people who want the high number and they have a pretty good property.
Okay. And one other question, so you don't, I guess it's towards David, you don't recommend foreclosure deals because of the time?
Uh, I've bought foreclosures like that, but trying to get into a deal like that, like he was describing, probably not. Uh, just
Okay.
because of the time frames, and it's a short window, and it's hard to get your ducks in a row and understand what you're doing, what you're buying. And I think it really muddies the water up when it comes to deals like that for me. So I've learned as a real estate broker and now as an investor, uh, if it can't be easily explained, then you don't want to try to defend it, uh,
Okay.
in court or magistrate court or anywhere you might go. So,
Hmm.
it's good to have clear, laid out boundaries in the way that a deal is structured and set up, and then everybody kind of understands. But we do a lot of foreclosure type stuff. I have done a bunch of it through the years, but most of it being just buying stuff on courthouse steps at foreclosure auctions. Uh,
At the auction itself,
yeah, but I've
not
never
through a
done a
wholesaler.
lot of stuff as far as getting involved previous to the uh, the actual foreclosure. Now, as I say that, uh, I have done a bunch of short sale type stuff through the years. So,
Hmm.
if you were going to get involved previous to the foreclosure auction, short selling is a good way to get into that. But you need a little bit of time. You need
Yeah.
a couple of months to get in there to submit a short sale package with all the repairs and all the things that need to be done to the property to get that short
A
sale.
lot of times it's like a month only, if
Yeah,
that, for foreclosure deals, and that's the
yes.
thing.
It's a really short window here in West Virginia too. I mean, we see them and it's like, we got 2 weeks, 3 weeks, boom, it's gone.
Uh-huh.
And so, and lots of times it's really hard to reach out and make contact with the sellers in those situations because everybody,
Yeah, I tried that.
yeah, everybody's trying to contact them, so they're not answering anybody.
Would you guys like, I know a guy named William, and William, that's all he does is focus on creative financing, foreclosures, excuse me. And what he does, he door knocks, and I mean, if you're going to learn about foreclosing and knocking foreclosures, it's from this guy. I could invite him on one week. If, I mean, I'm sure he'll come on and talk
That would
with
be
us.
nice.
You
Yeah,
guys would like,
please. Uh-huh.
because me and David, like I said, we're low risk. We are very particular with the deals we take on, but we know a lot of associates and people that's, we bump shoulders with, that they take on a lot more risk than we do. They do some stuff that we
Hmm.
would never do.
Hey,
Um,
Travis,
Hmm.
that's literally what I do. I focus, me and my wife, that's all we do is probate and foreclosures. We door
yep.
knock every Tuesday. We're out there knocking. I mean, if it's a deal, it will move, regardless of it being a month from foreclosing. The sooner you get in front of that person's door and knock and let them know their situation and their options and explain to them their options, they're more prone to let their guards down because they're in a bad financial situation to begin with. Last thing they want is 200 people calling them about purchasing their property.
Yeah.
Uh, how we approach it is we're here to offer solutions, not buy your property. If you were to sell your property to us, great. But the cons of you not selling your property is you lose all your equity, your credit's damaged. You can't rent from anybody anymore, and we can put some money in your pocket, so you can walk away from the foreclosure.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when you're in an area like you're in, like Texas, knocking foreclosures makes sense because you have a lot more foreclosures to knock. Here
A
in West
lot.
Virginia, there's not a lot. You got to go up these long driveways, and by the time you get to the door, you might get shot. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not the place to do it. But yeah, man, you're on it. I think that that's really good, man. Keep doing those. Keep knocking on
and,
doors.
and postcards, send them postcards. Like I'm literally on front of my computer going through the foreclosures I dropped this morning. I already dropped the postcard in the mail, so it hits them. So I'm hitting them from all directions. Send them a postcard that says, "Hey, you getting foreclosed on? You have options. Here's your options. You can sell. You can list on market. You can declare bankruptcy to push out your foreclosure because it freezes the assets. Give us a call for more information." And that's kind of what how me and my wife approach it is we're here to offer solutions, not immediately buy your house. And
Yeah.
like all the 200 people that call you, if we're able to save your house, you're going to thank me down the road by referring me another seller that wants to sell their property. Hey, this guy helped me, keep my house from getting foreclosed on. Give him a call, and that's a lead right there.
Yeah, man. Well, all right, guys. I gotta go.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
but
No,
thank
you're
you.
good. No, Osama, did you want to say something? I know you had your hand raised. I don't want to get off here if you needed to say something.
Yeah, and no, I just had just one thing. I remember it's like I was just asking if somebody knows any commercial buyer down in Houston, Texas, because that's a deal, massive deal that I'm currently working on. So if anyone happens to know any commercial buyer, I tried to reach out to few. Still, I'm waiting to hear until like tomorrow or something like that. Even even in Cleveland, Ohio as well. So
I got you in Cleveland, man. Send me a message for Cleveland.
yeah, all right, sure, we'll certainly do.
Hey, Sam, I got your number from the chat. I'll reach out to you after this. See if a buyer that I work with may be interested. We could
Sure,
talk.
absolutely. Absolutely. We can just chat, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much, David. Thanks so much, Travis. Appreciate it.
Thank you. David, you want to
Thanks,
lead
guys.
us out here today?
Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're going to try to do this once a week, and we're going to try to get on and talk. And if you've got questions, we'll try to help you. We'll try to answer. We may bring some people on, and you know, I really appreciate you coming on with us. We were a little worried. This is the first time we've done it. We were like, what if nobody shows up? What do we do? So we're glad that you guys kind of came in and and talked to us a little bit. And feel free to reach out to me. Travis is a little more visible in the group, but I'm always there. I'm always reading. So reach out to me if you got a question. I'll be glad to work with you in any way.
All right.
Enjoyed it. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have
See
a
you,
good one,
everyone.
everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.